Have you ever felt inferior in your life before? Maybe it was around a certain group of friends, certain group of acquaintances, maybe at your job, in a certain area. So we've all felt inferior in our life before, but when it goes too far, it becomes what is called an inferiority complex. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the 7 signs that you're having an inferiority complex.
I think we all have the point, everyone just trusts to it.
So before we begin the video, what is an inferiority complex? Actually was a video requested by one of my clients that I was speaking to on the phone. It's basically an unrealistic feeling of general inadequacy caused by actual or supposed inferiority in one's sphere, sometimes marked by aggressive behavior in compensation. So what an inferiority complex is basically is a general feeling of being inadequate, being inferior to others, whether it be psychologically in certain intellectual pursuits, whether it be physically, maybe you're actually a smaller person. Maybe that's why maybe you get bullied at school, for example. There's that one thing they call in psychology, which is the fatal flaw, where you feel like for no reason at all that you're inferior to others. That if people were to know about who you truly were, if people were to know about your true self, that you'd be rejected for it. General sense of malaise, this general sense of I'm just not adequate. There's just something off, And it's really a defense mechanism, because by being inferior, by talking about how inferior you are, by acting like the victim, you're trying to get pity from others. Maybe you're not doing it consciously, but maybe unconsciously. It's a defense mechanism that you have, maybe just to keep you stuck in your comfort zone, keep you stuck in your house. So you don't have to go out there and take responsibility for your life. Let's put the emphasis here on actual versus supposed perception. Because that's really what it is an inferiority complex comes from thinking that your supposed point of view is the actual point of view, right? It's taking your subjective interpretation of your own self-worth as actual, taking your own subjective experience as actual, as factual. So you're taking something that's not actually true, that you believe to be true, and then you turn it into a 100% irrefutable idea of yourself, right? Oh, well, I'm not good with girls, therefore I'm a loser. Oh, I'm not popular at school, therefore I'm a loser. Oh, I don't have many friends, therefore I'm a loser, I'm inferior. Oh, I'm not good at this, so therefore I'm inferior, whatever it is. So it's really just this kind of mind game that you play on yourself, convincing yourself of a certain value that you have in society. And that's not actually true. This is what could be bad about an inferiority complex. But as a counter example to that, I'm going to state, what's his name? I don't know what his name is, but it's called Adlerian psychology. And he realized that actually the inferiority complex, it is a bad thing when it starts to stunt your growth. It keeps you depressed, it keeps you apathetic, it keeps you unmotivated, and it's really an excuse not to go in your life. Then it becomes bad. But actually, the feeling of feeling inferior in your life is not necessarily a bad thing itself. I mean, we all feel inferior from time to time. It's impossible to always feel superior, always feel like you're the boss, always feel like you're the best. Of course not. We're all human, we're all imperfect. So it's just a matter of embracing those imperfections and seeing this gap in your skill set, seeing this gap in your success as an opportunity for you to grow, as a motivation, as a motivating factor. The opposite of that would be a superiority complex. So I mean, there's a certain healthy degree of feeling inferior that is totally fine, but it becomes a problem when you fall into those 7 signs that I'm going to tell you right the fuck now. So let's get into it. The number 1 sign that you're struggling with an inferiority complex is isolation. Isolation, simple as that. Why do people who feel inferior, incredibly inferior, isolate themselves? In a certain way, they feel themselves that their self-worth is so low that they can't let anyone close to them, because if they were to let people close to them, those people would realize the true them, what you call the imposter syndrome, You know, you have it together on the outside, but if people were to actually come close to you and realize the true worth that you have, the true value that you have, that they'd be disgusted by it, or that they'd be rejected by it. They'd be repulsed by it. So as a defense mechanism to that, they'll tend to isolate themselves, right? They self-sabotage their opportunities to make new friends, to make close friends. Number 2 sign that you're struggling with an inferiority complex is you're blaming others. Now this is really one that I find really annoying, and that, you know, we've all done to some extent, but there's certain types of people that like just do it more than others. Do you blame society for your problems? Do you blame others for your problems? Do you blame your job? Do you blame your friends for your problems? When you feel inferior, it's really because you feel powerless. You feel like you have no power or control over your life. So as the only consolation prize that you have left is to blame someone else, to blame something else. And it's really a refusal to take responsibility for your life. Because if you're inferior, you think maybe that you don't have the ability to change yourself. So instead of blaming yourself, you're gonna blame others. By blaming others, by finding fault in others, then what you're essentially doing is you're lowering people around you. You're lowering your environment, so then you can bring them to your level, you know? So if you feel shitty at that level and you think that everyone else is up there, you're gonna lower everyone else to your level. To feel more confident in yourself, you need people to be at your level. Number 3 sign is performance anxiety. So you have anxiety about how you look, about what other people think. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel, but you're terrified shitless of doing it because of your performance anxiety. Or maybe you want to do a certain project, or you want to start a career, a business, whatever you want to start. And you have this incredible anxiety about performing badly because you're afraid to be seen as incompetent. Number 4 is you seek validation and attention. When you feel inferior, you really need other people to validate you, because a feeling of inferiority comes from not knowing your own sense of value, not knowing who you are, not knowing what you value, not knowing really your self-worth and what you can contribute to the world. So as a compensation to not knowing any of those things, you're gonna ask others to give it to you. You're gonna seek other people's help. You're gonna seek other people's validation to give you that sense of self-worth that you cannot achieve yourself. So coming back to the idea of blaming others, basically you're giving your power away to other people to give you that love, to give you that validation, and because you're not self-sufficient, you're not able to fill your own cup, so you seek other people to fill your cup. Number 5 sign is you're too sensitive to the criticism of other people, right? Criticism, feedback of other people. So the simple of things that is told towards you, you're offended. So if someone tells you, yeah, I like your shirt, and you're like, what? What do you mean? What do you have against my shirt? Right? So you take things too personally, you're overly sensitive to whatever things are said about you, right? You're overreactive. That's another way of seeing it, right? Someone who has an adequate level of confidence that is not superiority complex or inferiority complex, but just kind of in the middle, just like the right amount, is just say thank you. Or if something bad happens to them, someone dodged them an insult or whatever, throws them an insult, they're just gonna ignore it, be like, all right, well, thank you, have a nice day, whatever, right? They're not gonna linger on it. They're not gonna overreact to it. Yeah, they're not gonna linger on it. Number 6, they do not take care of their own needs. They don't see their needs as important. Now, why is that? If you're feeling inferior, what are you gonna do? You're gonna put everyone else's needs on top of your needs. You're gonna put your parents' needs on top of yours. Whatever your friends think, right? You rather have this fulfilled than your own needs. Whatever your boss thinks over your own needs. Whatever XYZ person asks of you over your own needs. You're gonna become a people pleaser because your needs don't matter. I mean, you're inferior, right? That's what you keep telling yourself in your mind. So, of course, other people's needs are more important. Number 7, you constantly compare yourself to others unfairly. You know, there's certain people that they look at other people, they look up to them, they do it because they want to grow. So for example, the Adlerian psychology concept of feeling inferior being okay if it's used for growth. But if you compare yourself unfairly, right? If you always see the best in others and the worst in yourself all the time, right? So around your friends, you always point out the best things about your friends and you compare those best things to your worst things about yourself, and that's really bad. Best things about whatever celebrities that you're following, and you compare them to the worst, absolute worst things about yourself. Like, this is madness, and we do this all the time on social media, you know. And a bonus one, sign that you're struggling with the inferiority complex, is that your relationships fucking suck. All your relationships, or most of them. Now, why is that? Well, if you're feeling inferior, think about it. Your identity is being inferior. You know, I remember I told you at the beginning of this video that an inferiority complex is a defense mechanism. So think about it. You will seek out people that will validate your feelings of inferiority. Now, what does that mean? You're gonna unconsciously seek people who will lower your self-esteem. Unconsciously seek out people that will make your life worse for you. You will unconsciously attract people that will bully you. And whenever you'll meet people that will actually say good things about you, because of your inferiority complex, you will block them out, you will reject them, and you will be stuck with the same old relationships. Because you're terrified of change. This feeling of inferiority, this inferiority complex, really is there to protect you. Protect you, you know, it's a illusion of protection, but it's not really protection, because really what you're doing is you're just digging your own grave deeper. So it's like, what it is, it's like, it's gonna sound funny, okay, but it's like you're like taking a shovel and you're digging you're digging into the ground, okay, and then instead, because you're so afraid of the external world, you think that, oh, well, to protect myself, I'm just gonna dig deeper and like hide myself deeper into that hole so that no one will ever find me. And you think you're safe there. Of course not. Look out for your relationships if that's a problem. If you struggle with feeling inferior, if you struggle with any of these signs in your life, and you have no idea who you are, you have no idea what you want, you have no idea what your values are, then I want you to book a free consultation call with me, where I'll help you to find out, to really unclutter all that mess in your life right now. So maybe you struggle with a transition period right now in your life, then this is perfect for you. So I want you to click right here. I think it's gonna be right here. I'm gonna put a link where you can book a free session with me. Well, I'll put a link down there as well. So you just have to put in your email, fill out a quick survey, and book a time with me. And yeah, so I want to give you the opportunity to do that. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.